Hey, it's me, Nalthazar, and welcome to another video. In this one, we're going to be taking a look at a recently changed card, Camaraderie. So, in the 4.2 patch notes, the rare spell Camaraderie got changed. So it was originally 15 mana and you draw X cards and gain X times 3 life, where X is the number of creatures and creature reinforcements you control up to 6. Then, your creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. They changed it so that just this last part is a little bit different. So now your creatures get +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures and creature reinforcements you control. That's not up to 6, by the way. It's not like, oh, this is going to be buffed based on this up to 6. No, this your creatures get +X/+X until end of turn is entirely independent of that up to 6, which means that you can get some pretty insane boosts from Camaraderie. Now, I've been getting a lot of requests lately to make a non-Mythic Masterpiece deck, and I felt like there was no better card to showcase than Camaraderie for this purpose. Now, I did start off my testing with this with a Mythic and Masterpiece deck, and so you can see that things got pretty crazy with that one, actually. So the Camaraderies just made all of my tokens get incredibly powerful, like just otherworldly levels of powerful. But that's a stand aside. So Camaraderie in this deck, right? So I'm going to be running Camaraderie here with a bunch of other commons, uncommons, and rares. Ideally, you're able to put together something kind of like this. There are definitely better versions of this deck, but nonetheless, this is a very effective deck, and you're going to get a lot out of Camaraderie in this deck. So the idea behind Camaraderie is to get as many tokens down as you can. I say tokens just because you're going to want creature reinforcements, and tokens are the best way of generating said reinforcements in this game. I'm going to go ahead and close out of our little window over here, actually, so that we can just see our puzzle quests in full screen. So let's dip out of there. All right, now the deck as a whole. So I'm running, as you can imagine, Nissa Worldwaker. She's kind of my favorite walker to use on the whole. I use her in a lot of decks, but she's really here for her first ability to create 4 forest tokens. So especially between that and the converting 6 gems to green, you're going to be able to make quite a lot of tokens. And so in making all those tokens, you're going to get a heck of a lot of reinforcements down for Camaraderie. Now I'm running this elemental duo from M20, so Risen Reef, which is going to have whenever an elemental creature enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. If that card is a land support, it gains half its mana. So this one's nice because if you didn't know, these little tokens that Nissa makes are elementals. So every time you use your first ability, if you've got Risen Reef out, you're going to draw 4 cards, which is going to be very useful for getting all of your Camaraderies. I also threw in Creeping Trailblazer. While this creature is on the battlefield, other elementals you control get +1/+1. But more importantly, the Activate 2, this creature gets +1/+1 for each elemental and elemental reinforcement you control until end of turn. Since we're just using elementals and elemental reinforcements, that basically is like Activate 2, get Camaraderie on Creeping Trailblazer, like a bonus time, which is pretty sweet. So if you don't have something like Tristani, this is pretty nasty. Or if you don't have something like Akim, once again, this is pretty nasty. Season of Growth is going to fulfill the exact same role as our elemental that draws us cards whenever elementals come in. So with Season of Growth down and with the Risen Reef, we're going to be drawing 2 cards. We definitely needed some kind of removal in this deck, so I threw in Death Sprout, which is kind of my favorite removal spell, and Status, which you can use in one of 2 ways. So you can use it on this side as a flash spell to give a creature +1/+1 Death Touch and Defender, or you can use its flip side, Statue, to destroy an opposing artifact support, if not destroy an enchantment support, if not destroy your opponent's first creature. So this will get rid of their supports or their creatures, which is really sweet. The deck is then rounded out with shared summons to be able to pull our 2 different elementals. We definitely want to make sure that we have all 3 creatures down when we use Camaraderie. And Nissa's Pilgrimage, Gingerbread Cabin, and Castle Garenbrig for our gem conversion. Actually, I think for the deck that I'm using in this video, I actually think I'm not using Nissa's Pilgrimage. I'm actually using, hold on, let me go. It's the Omen. Ooh, don't do that. It's the green omen. So the green omen is going to convert gems to green. And then on top of that, when it gets destroyed, it's going to go ahead and fetch one of your lands. And so this is really nice because A, it gives you a whole bunch of mana and therefore also loyalty from the gem conversion. But then also when it breaks, you can then pick your gingerbread cabin and your castle Garenbrig and put those down. So it just gives us another way of getting our lands. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. And yeah, let's get into the gameplay. So in this match, we're paired up against a Karn deck with our Nissa. So I've got Garenbrig, I've got Omen, I've got Camaraderie in my hand. You're going to see that I'm going to be going ahead and disabling Camaraderie. I don't want to use it until it's boom time. So Camaraderie makes really, really big booms. So we want to wait for that. Now you'll see that I'm actually going to be going for the Omen first. That's because of between the gem conversion and then already having Garenbrig in my hand, I'm kind of hoping that the Omen will break and get me Gingerbread Cabin and I'll have both of my lands. Statue is here to destroy stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and flip it so that if I get like some kind of super crazy cascade, it'll start charging up more of that mana, because if you have it on just status and you charge up mana, it can only charge up 6 mana, whereas if you have it flipped as statue, it will actually be able to charge up the full 10 mana. Now, the Omen wound up getting us a green match. We're pretty close to being able to match our, to get the Garenbrig down. And so here you're going to see I get to drop down Castle Garenbrig. And because I'm playing Nissa, where there's Omen of the Hunt triggering, and we do indeed get that Gingerbread Cabin. So because we're playing Nissa, we are going to be able to have a lot of creatures coming down with our first ability. We're going to have a lot of gem conversion, and here we're able to use our first ability for the first time. So this means that we're going to be guaranteed to be able to get that Gingerbread Cabin down. And we got a pretty lucky draw there with the shared summons, because the shared summons is going to make it so that we can get both of our other elementals down and try and get to our boom potential a little bit sooner. So at this stage, if I keep everything in my hand and I make that black into green match on top, that's going to give us black and green match for mana, and then it's going to match the loyalty over there too. So we definitely want to do that. That loyalty is, I think, a 5 match. Yeah, it is. So that means that we're going to be able to get both Risen Reef and our little Tar Flame dude down. So we're going to be able to get all of our elementals. We can already use our first ability again because Nissa is super spammy that way. The Garenbrig activated gem is going to give us even more mana. And so we're going to be able to play out our hand, play the Garenbrig, the extra Garenbrig just in case, we start losing shields. We want to play Risen Reef first, just checking to make sure that that's the one I wanted to get down first. Because that one's going to make it so that whenever we play an elemental, we draw a card. And since both of the creatures we're going to be playing this turn are elementals, we want to make sure that we draw 2 cards out of it. Now, unfortunately, the match that it's generally suggesting is not one that I want, because that black gem on the bottom left with a support with 1 shield is indeed my Gingerbread Cabin. But fortunately for us, we did just get to play another Gingerbread Cabin. And so with playing that extra Gingerbread Cabin, our cabin is temporarily safe. Now my opponent just played a Niv. That's a big boy scary creature. We absolutely do not want big boy scary Niv down on the battlefield. You'll see that I did not actually activate my first ability here. That was because I have a full hand of cards that I want to use. So if I use my first ability, it's going to draw me 4 cards because of the elemental fellow. And so I just wanted to wait one more turn to be able to clear out my hand a little bit so that I'd have a better idea of what I wanted to draw. Now, the obvious answer is I want to draw Camaraderie, right? I want to make a big boom. But because I am, to a degree, an entertainer, I didn't want my Camaraderie to just be 1 Camaraderie and then game over for Karn. I wanted to try and hope that I could maybe get 2 Camaraderies down, because that would make this pretty big. So you'll see that we got our activate gem for our creeping trailblazer, which is nice. The status and statue are there. I'm freezing that down. I'm actually going to go ahead and throw away some cards in my hand because of the shared summons that I've got in my hand. And so we're going to get the cabin down. We're going to draw a card to the trailblazer coming down. We get yet another shared summons. We go ahead and fetch those. And part of what's important about using the shared summons there on that turn is that that's actually weeding the creatures out of my deck. So it's going to make it so that this coming turn, it's going to be even more likely that I draw into another Camaraderie. So I'm going to go ahead and throw everything out of my hand that I don't need. I'm going to use my first ability to draw 4 cards and also get the gem conversion, but really the first 4 cards, right? Because I'm hoping to draw into a Camaraderie here. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, perfect. We got an Omen of the Hunt, which means that we're going to have some green gem conversion. And we got our second Camaraderie, which means that we're definitely going to go ahead and kill Karn this turn. So I want to throw away basically everything in my hand that is not a Camaraderie or Omen of the Hunt. I am, however, going to use the statue over there just because that's going to bypass the hexproof on my opponent's Sphinx. And even though I don't need to kill the thing, I might as well, flex a little bit on my opponent. So we're going to make the match. We're going to go ahead and get rid of that guy with statue, and we're going to see how big we can get our creatures. So hopefully we get another Camaraderie. We do perfect. Oh, even better, 2 Camaraderies. That's actually super sweet. And now at this point, we're gonna hope that the Omen of the Hunt gives us like a super match, and we can play both of the Camaraderies. But no, we can just play one. So we got our creatures in this common, uncommon, rare deck pretty darn high. We're gonna be doing north of 200 damage. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Have fun playing it. See you in the next one.